In the shadows where the veil thins, truth whispers, unseen forces stir, and the unknown calls your name. Here, in the depths of the metaphysical, the darkness is not to be feared. It is to be understood. But beyond the night, there is also light. For every shadow, there is a glow. For every question, an answer waiting to be found. We walk the line between mystery and revelation, between fear and enlightenment. Welcome to Lumino and Umbra, where we embrace both the seen and the unseen, the dark and the divine. Dilik Aktan, your guide on this journey beyond the veil. Together, you will discover the secrets of the metaphysical world, step by step, shadow by light. Now, here is your host, Dilik Aktan.
Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I am together with you all with my new show Lumino and Umbra. I have been working on this show actually for a while, and unfortunately I didn't have enough time to stream this actually earlier than I thought I could. And I have gone through some sicknesses and stuff, so that's the reason why here I am. Finally, I am able to stream it. It's nice to see you, everyone, in here. Right now, I don't have anyone, I believe, but slowly but surely I will have some people. Let's see how it is going, and I will start talking about how I am going to be setting my show actually. This show is going to be talking about totally dark and the light side of the spirituality, which we are going to be talking about the more like the occultic stuff, and is the occultism is not just based on the dark and the light side. It is way deeper than that. It is not just dark also either. There's also light side of it as well. And we will talk about all those things. And this show is actually kind of in a way, while we are exploring the both side of it, both uplifting and the challenging aspects of the spirituality, we will be more curious. We will be more likely the questioning, and we will go deeper about the spirituality as well. So on this one, actually, I have planned some stuff that I may do it in a little bit. Let's see how I can do it. Let's wait a little bit for some people, and then after that I actually can start talking about it a little deeper and a little bit more. Let's see. And I'm not also thinking that this show is just going to be for an hour. Later on, I'm actually thinking to keep it longer and longer, because some subjects that I am going to talk about is going to be requiring more time. And hopefully it will get better. Let's see. By the way, I would like to say that he's not here right now, but I'm sure he will watch this later. I would like to thank so much to Todd Bates that he actually helped me about all this banners and everything with this show. He helped me and he taught me everything. And thank you so much for everything about it, Todd. Again, I appreciate it for everything. And let's see. I don't know if you guys have been on my YouTube channel before, uh, but those videos that I also have on my YouTube channel are belonging like 5 years ago, I would say. Maybe the closest one is like 2, 3 years ago. But I know that I haven't done anything for my YouTube channel and I literally neglected it for a very, very long time. I should have done some more readings, and the other day actually I was just looking at it, and which was like very interesting. I literally had a little bitty nostalgia with my YouTube channels and all those videos that I have made. I was like, oh my god, I have done all these things all by myself, literally. It was a little bitty nostalgia for me, but it was good. Let's see. Somebody is watching. Hello. I don't know who you are, but hello and welcome to being here. Thank you so much for being in here and watching. I would like to get maybe a couple more people, and then after that I will start talking about the subject that I actually invested in. And I got prepared myself for it. We will see. It's been a really long time, so a lot of things are now I'm trying to get used to it. Even YouTube is way too different than what I used to use. That even changed as well. Ooh. A lot of different stuff going around, but I'm catching up slowly but surely, that's for sure. People started showing up. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I would like to see you guys on the comments as well, so I can actually say hello to you guys personally. All right, I think I may start talking about the subject that was the main reason that I actually started this show. Let's talk about the light side of the spirituality in the first place. The light side of the spirituality is actually more positive, more like the transformative part of the spirituality, and it always like brings the inner peace, healing with all those meditations and the healing parts of the energy healing that we get done. The healing part is actually helping us to get more connected to the spirituality, and I don't know, whatever you would like to call. If you can call, you can call it source, God, whatever you believe in. And it is actually getting us uh, feel making us feel more connected and to find some meaning in life and on our spiritual path, spiritual journey as well. By the way, that all those inner peace and healing is also helping us to reduce the suffering in 3D life as well. And I actually like the light side of the spirituality, but at the same time, we always talk about the light side of the spirituality, but we are kind of in a way like neglecting the dark side of the spirituality, and that is not really helping us to get connected, because when we don't acknowledge the dark side of it, it's kind of in a way like poof, not much of it. It's not really working all by itself. It's not really existing all by itself as well. So where the light is, also darkness is. Where the darkness is, also the light is in it, as we always need to keep it in our mind. And um while we are going through all these, like trying to find our inner peace and healing for our spiritual journey and path, it's kind of in a way like helping us for the find the real meaning of why we are here. So it is kind of in a way like trying to make sense to us, like why we are here, what is our purpose, and trying to find our own true north, true way, which we can call it also in the astrological way is the north node. We can feel like that as well, like, so all these are actually making us feel more connected. And the light side of spirituality is also helping us to have unity and compassion. It is uniting the people all together, like minded people, um, or the people who have, let's say, like the same belief, or people who have, like, let's say, the same sign, um, same type of like the methods, or maybe same way of thinking about the spirituality, same way of questioning, or the things like that. It always brings in uniting the people. And it is interesting part actually that I would like to talk, because all while it is helping us to get all united and everything, it's kind of in a way making us to get have some, like, how can I say, the empathy for everyone, for one another, and for everyone out there that are not even in that um, community. So it's literally helping us to learn and practice more and more of the empathy and kindness, and bringing all us together in the same community like that as well. It's interesting that we can have also compassion, more understanding, more, I would say, like, hmm, more like um, empathy, but it's kind of in a different way that I'm thinking. I guess it's like the I can explain, like, oh yeah, I have been there. Like, it's kind of in a way giving the hand to one another, and to make them feel like they are not alone actually. And the light side of spirituality is also, I believe, that brings growth and awakening to people, which is the awakening is, I guess, most important part of it to a spiritual path for everyone, I guess, because um, the growth is that we go through in life, and like 3D life, that we go through all those things as well. But awakening is not always happening, is not happening every day. You can grow every day. So the growth is actually non-stop happening. Right now, let's say if you are writing a diary, you may put your um, emotions and thoughts about something or someone, is going to be, let's say, in a simple level. But if you come back to those same pages, like let's say 3-4 months later, you will be like, wait a minute, I actually have a different thought than this. And it is not the same way anymore. Wow, how I actually grew mentally, and I didn't even realize about it. And then, like maybe years later, you're thinking something that is actually horrible, something horrible that you're going through, but years later, you can look back and you can laugh about it. That's the real meaning of growth. So the awakening part is not really always happening. The awakening is only happening like once in a while, I would say, at least for my own self. That's not really always happening. I don't know how you guys are feeling about it, which I would like to see some comments about it as well. I have never seen any comments so far. Put your thoughts about it as well. I would like to know. So, awakening is not always happening. Awakening is only happening once in a while, like maybe I would say once in a month, maybe once in a year. That depends on everyone and how their actually understanding level is about the spirituality, and also how much awakened to the spirituality as well. For that reason, that I'm thinking like awakening is kind of in a way like yeah, the growth is like always developing itself. Like you're always growing, you're always developing, you're always improving yourself with the growth. But the awakening is actually when it hits. You really wake up to this some sort of like reality. You really can wake up to some sort of like purposes. You really can wake up to some sort of like um, let's say you were in a situation that you didn't even realize about it, but then you can get a little hint of something, and that can give you that instant healing and instant awakening as well. And it is actually so much important to understand the light side of the spirituality too. But all these are not just existing all by itself like that. Like, for example, if you would get stuck with just the light side of the spirituality, you wouldn't move. So the shadow and the actually dark side of the spirituality is also important. Remember, like you would always hear the shadow work. All the spiritual people, all the maybe tarot readers, or all the people are in the spiritual community, that they are always talking about doing the shadow work. Shadow work, shadow work. What is shadow work actually? So the shadow work is the shadow part is the part that actually we should supposed to understand before we should start talking about the shadow work. Because while we are embracing the light side of the spirituality with the inner peace, healing, and unity, compassion, growth, awakening, that are actually benefiting us with all the light side of the spirituality. But how about the dark side? Dark side is actually very interesting. The dark side, sorry about stuttering, I'm still pretty excited. So the dark side of the spirituality is kind of in a way like, how can I say, is always like as above, so below. So this is what is in the below part, I believe. If we can place the light side of the spirituality, the dark side is in the below part that it sits. And the dark side of the spirituality is kind of in a way like being delusional, avoiding the reality and the real world problems or the emotions or hiding the actual emotions as well, or ego traps are another thing that are coming in my mind, or being around the toxic people, toxic communities, or toxic leaders, even, or isolating yourself, uh, having confusion about things, about your own life, about your own spiritual path. And these are actually really interesting um, subjects of the dark side of spirituality that I could say. So it's like everything is powerful in its own, in a way, with this spirituality. That's what I see. It's like the dark side is powerful on its own, as the light side, the way it is powerful on its own. And I feel like the dark side, we are going to be actually exploring a lot of dark in the darkness, and a lot of things about that are connected to the darkness in this show, in the future upcoming episodes that will be the subject of this show as well. And I love I love actually exploring, discovering more and more, and talking about the dark side of it, because dark side is like, yeah, nobody wants to explore it, nobody wants to talk about it. People are acting like light side is the only side is existing, but actually the dark side is existing too, and the dark side, the existence of the dark side of spirituality is kind of in a way like, I would say, with the dark workers. There are light workers and there are dark workers as well. So, but also this um, shadow side of it, and the dark side of the spirituality, that I would say. Shadow is kind of in a way like the sugar coated version of it. I am thinking about it, so that's why I am trying not to say shadow too much, because it's kind of in a way like related with the shadow work. And I don't want to go into the shadow work right away right now. We still have a lot to talk about the dark side of the spirituality. So the dark side of the spirituality is like one of the things that spiritual bypassing, which I actually kind of in a way talked about, by avoiding the real world problems or emotions, or um, being delusional about them. And it is kind of in a way like actually keeping some sort of hidden spiritual ideas behind it as well, because dark side is not just the darkness that we are actually talking about. It's kind of in a way like, I would say, keeping understanding those dark spiritual ideas behind the avoiding real world problems or emotions is like totally different. Because how can I say, it's kind of in a way like I have gone through that. Let's say there was these, like, we all have gone through, maybe you guys have gone through that too. There are like these toxic relationships, either relationship or friendship, or this relationship can be with your own family or relatives as well. And these are kind of in a way like the problems that we all are kind of like avoid, try to act like that it are not existing, but they are actually existing in our life. And while we are avoiding from all those things, we are not realizing about a lot of the things. But the awakening side, when it comes, the light side of the spirituality, when it comes into the existence, that is the moment that actually we get a realization of why we have gone through all those things. And sometimes it may even take um, years for us to understand, because maybe we are not in that um, understanding level in our spirituality, or maybe mentally or emotionally. It can, anything can happen like that too. The ego traps is also another dark side of spirituality part. The ego traps is like, mm, it's so interesting because it can exist in every people in a different way. How is like the ego can grow on its own way like that, but the healthy way of ego growth is totally different than the dark way ego growth. So for example, like, we call some people, which I don't want to say it, but at the same time, those people are existing in our life. They're everywhere, all over, somehow, some way. We call some people egoistic as well. The egoistic is kind of in a way like calling people with a name. So I wouldn't want to prefer to say it this way. But at the same time, right now, for my example, for my explanation, I prefer to use it as well. The ego, I feel like it can grow in a healthy way with the spiritual practices. That is where the light side of the spirituality is existing. And um, but the unhealthy ego growth is actually the toxic version of it, which can harm in a way and cause some sort of like uh, delusion in people, or they may appear like toxic, or they may appear selfish. It depends on what kind of ego growth in their head that they have gone through. Ego is always existing in our head, in our minds, and we cannot avoid the ego. We cannot push the ego in aside and act like, oh yeah, I have no ego. Well, we all have it. You have it, I have it, everybody have it. So that's the reason why we actually need to acknowledge the ego part, I guess, and we can evolve that ego, and we can actually let it grow in an own healthy way, which can help us to have, let's say, like, boundaries. If people who has boundary problems, there is also ego problems too. Why? Because that's kind of in a way like the lack of ego in the spiritual way as well. Like, they cannot see those boundaries. Let's say the boundaries that I'm talking about. Um, you may take it as like the psychological or the mental way of healthy boundaries. Yeah, you can take it that way as well, but I also would like to say that the boundaries are kind of in a way like the spiritual boundaries that I'm talking about, which are like, I would say, uh, based on your spiritual practices, based on your spiritual teachings, if you're in the spiritual teachings as well. And also, the dark side of spirituality is also related with the toxic communities or leaders. Toxic communities and or leaders, they can be horrible, honestly. And spirituality is kind of in a way used for control, manipulation, or abuse at the same time. And the spirituality, when it is actually used for control, manipulation, or abuse to communities or people or specific person, is in a way the dark side of the spirituality. which we can actually learn a lot of things from this side of it. And when we go through the controlling or manipulating or abusive people like that, I'm not saying that it is a good thing, but in a certain level, on a certain level, I can tell that it's kind of, in a way, yes, it is, because it helps us to grow. You know what I mean? But at the same time, this is the dark side of it, that we go through or we learn things. These are the toxic communities and the leaders where they actually come together. And while if there is a leader in that community, and if the toxicity is based on the leader, and yeah, that's the part of it that actually we should supposed to be uh, questioning about it, or being more careful about it as well. And I'm not talking about anything politic in here at the same time, nothing political, nothing is based on the politic or um, political figures or anything like that. But at the same time, they are existing everywhere. To be aware of it is actually the most important thing. And we may be actually going through some sort of like relationships or toxic communities, or let's say you may live in a town that is actually full of toxic people, that they're like, let's say, on drugs, they may be on some sort of like um, manipulative, they may be following manipulative or toxic leader or toxic person or whatever it is. And that's, yeah, a toxic community. And that's actually pretty unfortunate part of being there. At the same time, I can relate to that in every sort of way, actually. And this is kind of, in a way, like the dark side of the spirituality. And also, people, if you remember that, there are also uh, complot theories that about some people, about some communities, and about some leaders, that they are actually uh, mind controlling or manipulating, or in a way like the energetically abusive like that to their people, to the public like that as well. It is possible that uh, there's always something that like we can understand something off of that darkness, because why we are going through this darkness, like let's say right now, nowadays the world is pretty much um on its own, like cuckoo crazy world that we are going through. Pretty much people are selfish nowadays, that we see that it is toxic. And pretty much people are uh, manipulative to one another. We see that a lot too. People are abusive to one another. We see that as well. And that abuse doesn't have to be physical. That can be also emotional. That can be just verbal. You don't have to touch anyone to abuse someone. You can actually abuse someone mentally, emotionally as well. And that's literally their dark side. And you're getting the dark side of their spiritual part of it in that relationship or in that community. That's how it is working. So I also would like to talk about one other aspect of the dark side of spirituality. Dark. It's like this isolation or the confusion part. The confusion kind of, in a way, can be related with the being like delusional, but at the same time, this is a little different. So the isolation is kind of, in a way, like the people who are abused or who have gone through any sort of thing, or they are going through maybe like the control or manipulation, whatever you would like to call, is or are actually isolating themselves. That isolation part also can be the cocoon part as well. For some people, isolation is not just based on the isolating or being disconnected from the community or public. It's also based on the cocoon mood as well. Cocoon is Being in the cocoon mood is kind of in a way like, how can I say? Kind of in a way, it's actually putting us in a natural isolation like that. So some people in this isolation part or the confusion as well, they are feeling lost. That, like, let's say you don't know what to do, where to go, you don't know what the meaning of your life or the purpose of your life, you don't know what to do in life. You are looking for a reason to do something, you're looking for let's say, like, to understand the life and its purpose or your own purpose as well. And you may feel overwhelmed with all these and or disconnected from the source or from God or from, like, whatever you believe. And and if you don't have any belief system, that's totally fine. You may be atheist, that's all fine. But throughout the life, sometimes we may feel disconnected like that as well. And that actually, this connection feel is good. At that time, while we are going through all these, like the overwhelming feeling or being feeling lost or feeling like no purpose, no nothing at all, but you're just trying to exist in life, in 3D life, by going to work and coming back and doing whatever. Like, you're trying to keep up with the real life things. And it is actually different that you need to embrace that too. Sometimes isolation is good. For example, like during the grieving time and everything like that. And it is actually important to embrace that time. We all needed it, and we all need to know actually um, how to figure things out. Sometimes these things can happen on your own all by itself, in a, like, with the simple aha moment. But sometimes you need to go through all those toxicity with all those people, and with your own ego traps and with your own delusional things and everything. It's so interesting that I actually have gone through that as well. And finding my own self was a hell of a journey, I would say. Now I actually feel like I found my own self, and my own self is actually existing with the both my own darkness and my own light side as well. And I'm embracing both sides, because as we are human, or doesn't even matter if we are not even human, we all have um, in the nature, we will all see that both side of it. The universe is actually based on this duality, and emphasizing the both light and dark part is the most important part of our spiritual journey, I'm guessing. And I feel like right now that I feel I'm embracing the both dark and the light side of myself, is like making me feel free. Honestly, I feel more free, I feel more like me. And yeah, that dark side can come out when I wanted it to come out. And that light side also can come out naturally, just like the dark side is coming out of me as well. So the both side is like working with the both sides of the spirituality, or working with the both sides of your own self is very interesting. So understanding the dark side, there's the shadow work part is coming now. Understanding the dark sides of ourselves is actually um, understanding the shadow work. Shadow work is kind of in a way like the facing the unconscious, um, or the unconscious pain, unconscious fear that we have, but we are not conscious about it. That unconscious part that we need to understand as well. The shadow work that we always talk about. Oh, we should do shadow work. Yeah, shadow work, but actually, when we don't know where that pain, where that fear, where that anger, where that um negativity is coming from, when we cannot address all these, is kind of in a way like you are swimming in the water that where you don't know where you are at, or what water that you're swimming in. And it is kind of in a way like that. So that's the reason why shadow work is actually something that gives us the opportunity of understanding our own dark sides. The shadow work also uh, making us feel and face with all the darkness in ourselves that are existing. So avoiding with that darkness, avoiding and acting like, oh, I have no darkness. Well, that's not true. We all have it. So when you actually go through the shadow work, you actually know your own different side. And it is actually so interesting that we are learning this. Our shadow part is like totally important to me. Facing with all that pain, fear, anger, they're all in there existing. And when we actually face with them, it's like giving us the true spiritual maturity. And we are actually growing more rapid growth that it gives us literally. And we literally rapidly grow out of it as well. And also, holding both sides is giving us natural balance. Natural balance is coming with um, like being grounded and understanding, discerning, and emotionally being aware is a part of a healthy practice. This is the true spirituality that maybe we should put more time and we should invest things in it more and more. And holding the both sides also gives us the wholeness, feeling more whole, feeling like one, and embracing all the both sides is like it can lead us to deeper authenticity, and also it can lead us to the deeper compassion. We can actually deeply get connected to the to being one, or to the oneness as well. And I also feel like, I don't know if you guys are feeling the same way. If not, or if so, let me know in the comments, please. Embracing both sides is kind of in a way like making us the deeper empathy of one another, and not just one another. It is whatever is existing in the nature and everything. We can have the true empathy, right empathy, the genuine empathy empathy to all and everything as well. And it is actually super interesting part that like holding both and embracing both in your hands is something that is actually more important, I believe. And I also would like to talk about like some sort of journaling would help for the shadow work. For example, like there are actually really good shadow work journaling ideas that we may ask ourselves to have the dark reflection of ourselves, and we can actually face with it as well, and that journaling can help us a lot and go through all those things. And what I also feel like, um, I am wondering like maybe this is something that I can also talk about it about my own self, but I'm also wondering from you guys too that you can reflect it on the comments, which I would like to see it as well. Um, what part what part of your spiritual path has brought the most light? Was it the dark side, the darkness that you have gone through, or the light side, all that light parts or the light aspects of the spirituality that you have gone through? To me, my own personal experiences, based on my personal experiences that I can tell, is the dark side of the spirituality. I can tell that actually brought the biggest awakening in my life. I have gone through a lot of dark things in my life as well, which there are still like tidbit of it, some hints of it are still existing, unfortunately, even though I cut the ties of it, but it still happens. I mean, it's life. It can happen. But you know what? In every sort of way that I would like to talk about is that dark side, I guess, is bringing more awakening, more light into our lives. And I would like to know what part of the spirituality had brought the light in your life. Was it the light side of it or the dark side of it? It's kind of in a way like I always think that when you go through the darkness, or let's say the storm, and I mean, there's a phrase that we always say it, the sun comes after every storm, right? And if you don't go through the storm, you may never understand the sun and its light and what its benefit was for you or in your life. And so that's exactly the same way. The light side of the spirituality is, yeah, existing. That's right, it's always existing. But what about the dark side? That's existing. That's existing in the deep hidden corner that we actually put things aside and we actually covered it, and we are acting like it is not existing, but actually it does. And so on this part of the show, I kind of would like to think about for all of us to let us sit and think about the light side and our dark sides of it, and what can be the light sides of your own spiritual path that you would count on, which made you lead and go through all those darkness and the shadow side of the spirituality, and what are the dark sides of the spirituality, um, futures that are existing in you that actually you can embrace, and you can actually talk about it, and maybe you can bring it to the light, make it more visible, and let's say like, oh yeah, this is in here and it is existing. Here's the existence of my both sides. And it's so interesting that coming to that level of the spirituality is always something like you are kind of in a way like getting a different understanding level in that as well, I guess I would say. And what shadow side you think that might need your attention more and more? It may be going through all the way to your childhood. It maybe is related with your inner child, or it can be related with something in your teenager time, or maybe a little older times. It's always different in all of us, but it is always existing. It is always there. So that's the reason why I love talking about the more darker side, and we will be exploring, we will be discovering more and more about it. So for today, I think I would like to talk about these both sides of the spirituality just this much. And for the next time, I will be talking about the angels, but it is not going to be the something that you always have seen the angels that are existing. We are going to be talking about the angels actually in a different way. Angels and demons. Angels, do they have their dark sides, or do they just exist only with the light side? We will talk about all those things because I actually have done a very interesting research about it that I would like to bring it to the light. And I also would like to let you all know that my show is going to be going through all these subjects for 3 4 weeks in a month, and every and every last Wednesdays of the month I will be giving free readings as well. So if you would like to jump up and show yourself and ask your question, if you have any question for your readings that you would like to know, whatever, wait for me to give you a reading during the end of the last Wednesday. And I will see you guys later. Thank you so much for being in here. And if you think that this is beneficial for you, comment on it. I would like to see it on my YouTube channel as well. And I would like to give you guys a nice comments back as well about it. And also for the future upcoming videos and live shows and readings, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I would like to see you guys later. Have a great day, you guys.